Hey everyone, how's it going? Brandy here with Falcon Healing Arts, and welcome to Thriving Thursday. Today we are going to talk about how to lighten up and find balance in spring. You know that I love helping families find and maintain wellness, and that as a Chinese medicine practitioner and yoga instructor, I align my methods with Taoist philosophy and Chinese medicine and Ayurveda, and these really inform me as to how I help people find wellness. So with each season, they each have their own characteristics, and we need to align to those because we are a microcosm of nature, and we need to change ourselves and our approach in order to stay healthy and deal with all the changes that are happening externally. So we're going to dive into that. But before we begin, I just wanted to say, please say hi if you come on here. Let me know if you're watching live or on a replay. Let me know if you have any questions as we go on, and I'll definitely answer them at the end, if not during. So this is based on a blog post I did a few years ago. I have fleshed it out even more, and I think I'm going to save sections of it for another live, maybe next week actually. So we're going to be working with the levels of ourselves. So body, emotions, and mind, how they all need to adjust with spring. And I thought it would be interesting for you to know what the characteristics of spring are. So in Taoist philosophy, spring is associated with the element of wood, the color green, the movement of the qi and vital energy of the body, liver and gallbladder organs and the meridians or channels that traverse them and go throughout the body, the tendons, so our connective tissue. Spring is associated with the eyes and sight. Sour taste, and when we're in balance, we feel more compassionate and we're really decisive. We know how we're going to approach our tasks and projects that we want to start. And when we're out of balance, we tend more toward anger and frustration and indecisiveness, just not being as sure of ourselves. And the wind, we know that the wind picks up in the spring, and this can actually cause a lot of problems if we are out of balance. So we also work with yin and yang in Chinese medicine, with yang being the energy of the sun. It's, of course, hot and light and invigorating. Other elements of yang were mobile, so move more. And we're balancing this out with what we experience during more yin times. So with it being colder, darker, where we're not moving as much, and maybe where we're not as flexible, and just appreciate more stillness and going inward. So following the yang energy of the sun, that really picks up at the winter solstice. So that's the most yin time of year. And then it starts to become more yang as the days become longer again. And so here at the spring equinox, it's even, and it's going to continue to go up until the summer solstice. And that will be the most yang time. And then we feel that at the summer solstice when the energy starts to go down, and we get really tired of the hot in the summer and we want to be resting more, and then that continues into the fall and to the winter solstice. So does that make sense that automatically we align ourselves with the energy of the sun? And I hope that these characteristics of spring are interesting to you too. So how can you adjust the body in springtime? Here's a few ideas. So of course you want to be eating produce that is in season. So less of the root vegetables, the more starchy, sweet, and more greens, more lettuce, carrots, Dandelion is really good this time of year. So in season, anything that you find at the farmer's market is appropriate to eat right now. But we want to just lighten up our meals anyway. So we were having really hearty soups in winter, more meat. We want to have less of that now, less with the heavy, nourishing foods, and just enough to satiate you. So lighter soups. Now salads are appropriate if you have an easy time digesting them. For some people, this is still too cold. So we all have unique constitutions. For someone like me who has a more hot constitution, I could eat salad, no problem. But someone who is more cold, they may have more gas, bloating, diarrhea with that, and that is a sign that it is not appropriate. So still maybe cooking your foods, but experimenting with different ones that are more in season. So I hope that makes sense. Also, to nourish the liver loves sour foods. So think fermented foods, pickles, yogurt, sauerkraut, other sour fruits. So again, this is to nourish the liver. And again, for some people, this is not always appropriate. So if you have a liver imbalance where you're experiencing a lot of anger and frustration, that means that more energy is coming up, more hot energy, and that sour does not help that. It may actually increase it. So less with the sour foods if you're experiencing that. But if not, then they might actually nourish your liver energy this time of year. Detoxifying our system. So I know a lot of people were raving about detoxing at the first of the year. This was part of many New Year's resolutions. And that wasn't the right time to do it. Shay, I'm on a live, you know. He is sick. We'll talk about this in a moment because this happens this time of year. So winter time, not a great time to detox. Your body does not need to be challenged with that then, and it needs to be nourished. This time of year, as we're shedding off our winter coat, it is appropriate and it will benefit you greatly. So this is the piece I'm going to pull out, and we'll talk about this more next week in a special detox episode. But if you have any questions about that, you can ask and I'll try to point you in the right direction as to systems you can use to detox. You'll want to increase probiotics. This will also help with gut flora, increasing beneficial bacteria and microorganisms that will help support gut health and immunity. Because my son's blowing his nose right now and I'm just on the edge of getting a cold. I'm pretty sure I'm okay because it was worse yesterday and I'm much better today. What was I saying? So of course our immunity, much of it is from these beneficial bacteria in our gut. So supplementing with that will help you with any challenges that come with the spring wind. That's why in Chinese medicine, they say the wind is evil. Because with it, we understand now that there's all these microorganisms, there's pollen and other things that can really challenge us as the wind brings it up. So get moving. Yang time of year, we want to mobilize our chi, we want to mobilize the body and our energy. So this is not the time of year to stay in the house all cozy, but when the sun is shining, we need to get out and we need to move to stay well. This will keep mucus from pooling in the head, and this will keep the blood flowing. It will also improve immunity as that is happening, as we have good circulation. So this is the perfect time to pick up a new sport or if you have a weight loss program you want to try, this is the time to do it. So if you tried in the winter and failed, or you just gave up, please do not be hard on yourself. This is a better time. You will be more successful with this motivating energy of the spring behind you. Also, I mentioned that the eyes are associated with the liver and spring. And if you are on a screen a lot, like I am when I'm writing a lot, you may have a desk job where you use the computer a lot, it's very important to give your eyes a break. They are extremely sensitive this time of year. And a great way to relax them is not just to look away from the screen and take a break, but as you take a break, go outside, and you can use your depth perception looking at a tree. I'm looking at this beautiful pine tree right outside my house. And I'm looking at the depth. I'm looking at the needles, all the different needles, and then further back, the different clusters. And that's very nourishing for the eyes to relax them against a green surface. And I mentioned too that wood is the element of spring, so matching it with trees is even more beneficial. And just being out in nature, looking at nature really improves your mood. Because for some of us, this transition is hard. It's like we're grumpy bears coming out of hibernation. And yeah, it can be a challenge. And then there's others of us, and this is how I tend to be, is more like an energizer bunny. I just get a little bit of sun and then I'm and tend to become more overwhelmed this time of year. So we find balance. So that is mostly for the body. I also want to address how to find balance with our emotions and our mind. So this has more to do with how we're perceiving what is happening around us and inside of us, and also our approach to life this time of year. So you'll want to soak up the sun to improve your mood, definitely, so that our emotions are high. And you could be also using essential oils for that. I mentioned this too last week, that peppermint and citrus oils are especially uplifting if we're feeling like that grumpy bear coming out of the cave. If we need a little more motivation to get out into the sun and get moving, essential oils can really help with that. And I'm actually giving away some samples, and I'll talk more about this at the end. I actually have peppermint and wild orange in this little gift bag that I'm giving away. So these can help you adjust. You'll also want to recognize the signs of overwhelm. Like I said, that is possible if you're more of a high energy person and you're just taken away with this surge of energy. You'll want to notice when you're getting agitated, when you're getting angry and frustrated. You'll want to notice when you're becoming overheated. So energy moves up, and you may experience that as just a hot feeling. Separate from hot flashes, if you're experiencing those, or maybe that could actually be adding to hot flashes, but also headaches. So headaches and any high energy heat is a sign of imbalance. So you'll want to be eating more cooling foods to balance that. Again, peppermint essential oil is very balancing to cool you down. And you could also be drinking peppermint tea, and that's what I have right here to cool me down. Take a sip too. And I have a little blend here I was using of, and this has orange and peppermint in it as well. And then of course, meditating. Meditating can definitely calm you down. If you need any help, I have a few guided meditations on my website. So that's falconhealingarts.com, and there's a whole tab dedicated to my guided meditations, and you could choose any of those and they will help calm you down. So you'll also want to approach spring with a light, playful attitude. So just looking outside, I have this forest behind me and lots of trees here out front, and the birds are going crazy, the squirrels are going crazy. There's a lot of high energy. We saw some deer out earlier grazing, and there's just a lot more life and vibrancy. So we want to match that mood and be more playful, feel more young. If you have a hard time with this, with your meditation, you can be imagining your younger self and how that used to feel, before you took life so seriously. And of course, we all have obligations, but we don't need to be stressed out about them. And many of us create the stress that we experience. So you may want to play around with that, just not taking it on and just being, just lightening up about it. Last thing I want to say is that we can be more receptive to change this time of year. We want to be like the trees that bend with the wind, that adjust. You know, if a tree is weak and also tight, it's going to snap in the wind. So I carry that image in mind when I'm having a hard time with inflexibility in the mind or even in the body, to be like a tree, to be mobile and open to change. So I hope this helps you tremendously this time of year. It will help you, it will help boost your immunity, it will help prevent colds, it will help you deal with allergies once you start to lighten up your diet and improve your circulation. And you'll just feel a lot lighter and more energetic as you do so. So please share this video with your friends if you enjoyed it. Ask them to like my page here at Falcon Healing Arts. And I wanted to mention again that I have these little gift bags that I'm giving away, and these are to people who are able to commit to coming to my online class that I'm doing on Zoom next Wednesday, the 27th at 6 p.m. So if you can commit to going to that class, I would love to mail these out to you, and I would need to do that really by tomorrow so we have enough time for transit. That is it. So let me know if you have any questions. Please join me again next week at 5 on Thursday. And next week we're going to be talking about detoxing in spring and all the many ways that you can do that. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Take care.